afternoon. This is Cheryl Restell with another edition of the Flipped Classroom, Vocabulary Edition actually, courtesy of RestellZone.com. Very quickly, as usual, when the classroom is being flipped, have your pencils or pens ready to go. Earbuds and headphones may be helpful, although I am very loud when I speak. Do not be distracted. Plain paper is totally appropriate for your notes. If something's not working, please email me, have your parents text me. I am not going to go over the directions for folding this paper. You should either have the pop-up or you should just write on plain flat paper. Okay, it'll just take too long for me to go through all of these. So I was trying to fast forward, but I can't see the pictures. So I'm just going to fast forward the regular way. Okay, you will need for this plain paper, pencil, or pen. And we're going to go ahead and get started. Standards L.7.4 determine or clarify the meaning of unknown or multiple meaning words and phrases based on grade 7 reading and content, choosing flexibly from a range of strategies. L.7.5 demonstrate understanding of figurative language, word relationships, and nuances in word meanings. EQ, how does word choice affect the author's tone in a particular text? LQs, how do I create word associations using connotation and denotation, and what resources can I use to determine the meaning of unfamiliar words? I am going to skip the quick quiz. We did it in class. We did his notes in class. So I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward through that and try again to fast forward via the pictures. Are you going to let me do it? Is it going to let me do it? Let me fast forward. It is. So I'm fast forwarding the quiz. It was kind of fun. And hopping right into the notes, because the notes are what you need. Definitely. Okay? So we're starting off with the definitions of denotation and connotation. Okay? And on the top of your paper, on the very, very top, we're going to go ahead and start with denotation. So you're writing this, when I say on the very, very top, I mean the very, very top. Copy all the notes. Inside or just on top, flat top of your paper, you're writing right here where it says right here. Go ahead and write down denotation and then write down the definition of denotation, which is a dictionary definition or literal meaning. How do you remember that? Very easy. Denotation starts with a D, so does dictionary, so does definition. Denotation, D. Dictionary, D. Definition, D. And it is literally what it sounds like. It is the dictionary definition. So I want you to go ahead in the center of your paper and write down the word plump, because that's the word we're going to be centered around the entire time for our notes. So write plump down. And I also want you to copy that definition for plump, and I'll zoom in as I'm saying it. Don't forget you can pause, fast forward, and rewind, because I'm just going to keep on going. So definition of plump, you're writing down this first one, having a full rounded shape. And you're writing down the second one, shake or pat, a cushion or pillow, to adjust its stuffing and make it rounded and soft. So make sure you've copied down those two definitions. We're going to focus on this first definition, though, for the rest of our notes. That was all for denotation. Now it's time for connotation notes. Where do we write those notes? We write them on the bottom, right here, where it says right there. So it's very easy to figure out where we write our notes. So the word connotation is written on the bottom of your paper, and you're going to go ahead and get that definition. So connotation is emotional association and tone. Remember, the tone is the author's attitude. So it has to deal with feelings and emotions, what you think and what you feel on the inside when you hear this word, what's associated with it. I want you to go ahead and write down your notes, positive, neutral, and negative. You're welcome to draw the faces, because that's how we gauge connotation. Is it positive, is it negative, or is it neutral? The word plump should already be on your notes. And then connotation of the word plump, write this down too as well. Again, right here near the center. Connotation of the word plump is neutral. It's not very negative. There are worse words that mean the same thing as plump. And it's not actually positive, so it's kind of neutral. It's in the middle. For example, I love this dress, but I probably feel weird like saying, you know, a little dress for a plump girl. I don't necessarily call people plump that way. So that's why it's neutral. It's not bad, but it's not something that you should be like, woohoo, I'm plump. Okay, this was a little activity we did in class, because remember I told you the notes were given in class, where we looked up synonyms for plump. And you will need to do that on your own paper, because you're going to have to classify some positive, negative, and neutral words for plump. So on the back of your notes, maybe, go ahead and look up the word plump. You can look it up online. Make sure you put the word plump and synonym, so you'll pull that up. Or you can use a thesaurus. And you're going to make a list of words that are synonyms for plump, okay? And just do that quickly. So we're going back to notes. And what I need you to do, you have everything done except for this box and then synonyms for plump. I want you to go ahead and draw this rectangle and the rest of the bottom of your notes right there. And again, it is being written right here in the middle, that rectangle. You're going to actually divide the rectangle up into three parts. Sorry. You're going to divide the rectangle up into positive on this side, neutral in the middle, and of course your labels are going to be on there, and negative on this side. So, positive side is right here. We're going to talk about positives first. You're writing all of this down. Write it all down on the positive side. So, write the word positive down, and then write down these words for positive. These are positive words for plump. You would rather be called curvy, or voluptuous, or shapely. Your job is to write 2 words from your synonyms list you just created, or find 2 other words that are considered positive for the word plump. That's important for your notes, for you to get full credit for your notes. So, the next one is neutral. And you're writing neutral down, of course. And you're putting down neither positive or negative. And you're writing down full-figured, you're writing down healthy, you're writing down robust. Those are neutral words for plump. They're not necessarily really bad, but they're not really great. Although I will tell you this, full-figured is used as a positive way. So if you put down full-figured down as one of your positive words, I will accept that. Don't forget to write 2 words from your list, or find 2 words that are neutral for the word plump. And then last is negative. So for negative, you definitely do not want to be called pudgy, fat, or obese. You don't want to be called any of those things. And those are negative connotations. Remember, connotation is the emotional feeling you get when you are, you hear these words. If an author used a tone where they use the word fat and pudgy and obese, that's a negative connotation. You may think it's funny, but it's still negative. And then don't forget to write 2 words from your list. So, remember, with your list, you should have your own words for positive, your own words for neutral, and your own words for negative, okay, on your list in your chart for your notes. So, your notes, when they are done, should look like this. They should have denotation on the top, the definition of plump, all that plump in the middle, the connotation of neutral, the smiley faces and the frowning faces and everything right here too, that's missing. Tone definition, connotation definition, and your chart right here in the middle. So what's the point of this? So we know that word connotation influences the way we understand what we read, and has an impact on relationships and events that happen in a text. If there was no tone, the story wouldn't be interesting. You would be bored because the words would not have any meaning for you. So how do they impact that? Well, very quickly. Here's Janice, and you'll be able to quickly see, you don't have to write any of this down, you're just listening, how characters are perceived by words that have similar denotations but different connotations. So we're meeting Janice, and Janice is pretty careful when it comes to spending money. Her parents consider Janice to be frugal and thrifty. That's one side. However, her brother Eric states, bottom line, she's a tightwad. She's been stingy and miserly since birth. You can tell which ones are a positive connotation and which ones are a negative. You don't want to be called stingy. I know you heard that word before. Miserly and tightwad, those are not positive. Frugal and thrifty, though, those are. So, in class, we discussed the denotation and connotations of the word as groups. Here's another example. So, Eric added, Janice is obsessed with work. She is so preoccupied and engrossed with her job that she never has time for anything else. Janice is focused, her mother exclaimed enthusiastically. Janice is absorbed and fully committed to the goal she has set for the company she is working for. So obsessed, preoccupied, engrossed, focused, absorbed. They have the same denotation, but the connotation is different. So being obsessed and preoccupied and engrossed is totally negative. But focused, that's positive, and I know you know the word focused. And being absorbed, it can be neutral. Okay? Sometimes it's good to be absorbed, sometimes it's not as good, but it's not a negative word. So, we wrapped it up by answering these three questions. What is the difference between the denotation and connotation of a word? What are the differences between? What are the differences between the denotation and connotation of a word? Mr. Stowe's editing herself. Number two, in what ways did the connotation of a word influence the tone and mood of a sentence? And then number three, what can be learned about Janice or from Janice is better? How does word connotation influence how she's perceived as a character? You know, if the words are positive or mainly positive, she's considered positive. She'd see her in a good light. But if the words are negative and sometimes even neutral, people don't see her as well. So that is it. Okay, you will need to make sure you have your notes, of course, the plump list that you have listed in your chart, positive, negative, and neutral, and that is the end of your notes. So thank you so much for watching. It's only been 11 minutes, almost 12 minutes. It could have been faster, but I wanted to slow down a little bit. So this is the vocabulary edition of the Flip the Classroom, courtesy of RestellZone.com. Have a great evening.